Ethan Chu's canary was sulking again. He handed me the divorce application and told me to sign it, saying it was just for show, just to coax that girl a little. I clenched the hem of my dress, gave a slight nod, and silently signed my name. When I was leaving, I heard his friends joking behind me, laughing as they said, "Sister-in-law is really obedient. When it's time to tell her to go get the marriage certificate, she probably won't dare say a word either, right?" Ethan Chu cheerfully lit a cigarette and said, "Want to make a bet?" They bet that 1 month later, at the Civil Affairs Bureau, I would cry like a dog but still obediently listen to him, turning the marriage certificate into a divorce certificate. I held my phone without responding, only replying to the message that had just come in. "Did you get it, or should I come get you? Is that okay or not?" The reply from the other side came almost instantly. I turned off my phone screen. Inside the room, the laughter continued, lively and loud. "Not bad. If sister-in-law really is that obedient, when we get together next month, I'll treat everyone for 3 months, Ethan Chu said. "Deal, deal, deal," laughter rang through the room. I panicked and hurried outside. It wasn't until I had completely left the building, when the harsh sunlight stabbed into my eyes, that my tears finally poured down uncontrollably. Daniel Chu had taken a liking to a girl who hadn't even graduated yet. He bought her a house in Harbor City and filled it with luxury brands, but the girl wouldn't let him kiss her or hug her. Living in a 360 square meter luxury apartment, wearing custom-made clothes worth hundreds of millions, she held her head high and said, "I'm not going to be a mistress." Ethan Chu found the whole thing incredibly amusing. Up to now, this was already the 3rd time he had put on a show because of her. The first time was when he flaunted affection with me. Back then, I didn't even know Lily Tong existed. I happily hugged him and took countless photos with him. When I saw him post an entire set of 9 pictures, my heart was filled with both surprise and anticipation. But no matter how many times I refreshed, I couldn't see the post on my feed. I couldn't believe it. Later, I found out he had set it so that only Lily Tong could see it. The second time was when he argued with me, abandoned me on the roadside, took a photo of me sitting there alone and crying, and sent it to Lily Tong, saying, "See, I can't do anything about her. She can't leave me." The third time was when he wanted a divorce from me. My phone vibrated, and I took it out to look. "Really? You're serious?" I asked. "Kelly Vaughn," I wiped away my tears and gave a faint smile. "I'm serious, this afternoon." That afternoon, Ethan Chu really did take me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. On the way there, his mood was excellent. He kept asking me where I wanted to go to celebrate our 3rd wedding anniversary. Ethan Chu and I grew up together. Today marked the 3rd year of our marriage. "Let's go eat burgers," he said. "When you were 7, you kept whining about going to the burger plaza to feed the pigeons." He got out of the car, opened the door for me, and even bent down to unfasten my seatbelt. "Tsk, crying already?" he said, frowning slightly, gently wiping the corner of my eye with his fingertip. "I told you, I'm just acting a little. She's just a canary. I'm only curious to see when she'll finally lower her head." As he was speaking, something fell out of his pocket. It was a box of condoms. Ethan Chu coughed lightly and scratched his nose, saying nothing and offering no explanation, then took my hand and led me into the Civil Affairs Bureau. Everything went very smoothly. I have selective mutism. When I meet strangers, I often can't speak, but I can nod or shake my head. "Do you agree to the divorce?" I nodded. "Have your feelings broken down?" I nodded again. "A 1-month cooling-off period. Come back again in 1 month." Ethan Chu held the receipt. Before we even left the Civil Affairs Bureau, he took a photo of it. With his head lowered, I sent a message, just like every time before, to Lily Tong. Along with the photo of the receipt, I sent a single sentence. "Satisfied now? Be good tonight, wash yourself clean, and wait for me." I tapped on her avatar and blocked her immediately. Right after blocking her, a notification came in saying the flight ticket had been issued. At the same time, WeChat popped up, showing that the ticket had already been purchased. "See you in Paris in 1 month." That night, I dreamed of Ethan Chu again. Ethan Chu when he was young, his words sweet as honey. "Sister Kelly, your eyes are so beautiful. Can I look at them every day and talk to you?" "Sister Kelly, sister, you play the piano so beautifully. Can I come listen to you perform every day?" Is that okay, Sister Kelly? I like you the most. When I grow up, I want to marry you. I liked Ethan Chu too. At school, we had to sit at the same desk, and after school, we had to play together no matter what. Even on the day my parents were in a car accident, I was sitting in his family's car, playing rock, paper, scissors with him. But the two cars were driving too close to each other. I saw with my own eyes a large truck charging straight across the road. With a thunderous crash, my parents, my older brother, and even the dog I had raised since childhood were all swallowed by a sea of flames. For a very long time after that, no sound came out of my throat. I could only fall asleep if Ethan Chu stayed by my side. Back then, he was extremely patient. He practiced speaking with me little by little, told me stories all night long. If anyone dared to mock me for being a mute girl, he would swing his fist without hesitation. My marriage to him was almost inevitable. Of course, the very next day after I received my college diploma, he leaned over my bed early in the morning and said, "Kelly, let's go register our marriage." That day, we officially became husband and wife. In my dream, the entire bridal chamber was covered in blazing red roses. He knelt on the bed and gently kissed me. He said, "Kelly, let's stay this happy for our entire lives." But when I opened my eyes, the whole world was nothing but darkness. I picked up my phone and saw another message from Lily Tong. A photo. On a disheveled bed, a glaring red stain stabbed into my eyes. A wave of nausea surged up. I rushed into the bathroom and retched violently, but all that came out were a few drops of physiological tears. In the end, I sat on the cold tiled floor, hugging my legs, not knowing where to place my hands. In the quiet darkness, a low male voice suddenly sounded, calling my name, Vaughn. My heart jolted as I grabbed my phone. Felix Shen? Felix Shen was someone who had undergone treatment alongside me. After 3 years of medical intervention, my selective mutism had improved a great deal. Only when my emotions spiraled downward, or I was under extreme stress, would I lose my ability to speak. In the first 2 years after marrying Ethan Chu, I was almost completely recovered. My mental state was good and I had plenty of free time, so I joined a support group for patients with similar conditions. The person assigned for me to support was Felix Shen. In fact, for 2 whole years, I always thought he was a woman. His profile picture was a pink rabbit, and his WeChat name was Angel. At first, he barely paid any attention to me, but people who share the same hardship understand each other. Those who have lost their speech for many years usually carry very deep psychological wounds. They may not be able to speak, but they still need someone by their side. I didn't mind the trouble. Every day, I shared my daily life with him, from text messages to voice messages, from photos to videos. Gradually, we became like close friends who had known each other for years. So much so that the first time I called him, I discovered that he was actually a man. I was so shocked that I nearly relapsed on the spot. "Sorry," I said, gripping my phone tightly. "I bothered you." "It's okay," Felix Shen said. "It's only 9 in the evening here." He spoke with surprising fluency. That was only the second time I had ever spoken to him on the phone. After finding out he was a man, I deliberately kept my distance. That day was actually just a coincidence. I hadn't contacted him for almost a month. Just as Ethan Chu handed me the divorce papers, Felix Shen sent a message asking what I was doing. My mind was struck blank by the words, "divorce papers." I only managed to type back 2 words, "getting divorced," before slipping out of the office. Ethan Chu's entire body was trembling. "Felix Shen, I think I'm about to have no home left," I said. "No parents, no older brother, no lovable dog I grew up with. Even Ethan Chu is gone now. What am I supposed to do?" I never expected him to reply with such a sentence. "Then marry me? Wouldn't that work?" Inside the room, the teasing grew louder and louder. "Don't joke around. Kelly Vaughn won't actually leave. Brother Ethan can't even handle a conversation with her properly. How could she really go through with the divorce?" "Exactly. You're really letting her take the divorce papers?" "I would cry so hard I'd probably bring the entire Civil Affairs Bureau down. Is that so?" Ethan Chu gave a cold laugh and tossed the lighter onto the coffee table. "Even if she cries until she looks like a dog, she's still my dog. If I tell her to go east, then even if she has to crawl, she'll crawl east." I stared blankly through the crack in the door. The man inside had already become someone completely unfamiliar to me. Felix Shen sent me a to-do list for the month. Getting a visa and finding a lawyer went without saying, but the list also included the names of several restaurants he insisted I try. He said the food over there wasn't great overall, but those places were genuinely good. I happily followed his list, eating my way through each restaurant. Living alone didn't seem as difficult as I had imagined. Every day was just eating, shopping, and then packing my luggage on the day I moved out of the house pending the divorce. Ethan Chu suddenly sent me a message. "You didn't even call me once. Don't you miss me?" He was traveling with Lily Tong, saying he was taking the little girl to see how big the world was. "Not obedient at all," he added, then sent another message along with a photo. "This place is pretty nice. For our 3-year anniversary, I should have brought you here." I really wanted to block him, just like I had blocked Lily Tong. But when I thought about the fact that I still had to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to collect the divorce certificate, I stopped myself. Over the next half-month, I dealt with all my jewelry and miscellaneous handbags, went to the hospital for a checkup, and confirmed that I wasn't pregnant. Finally, I reorganized all the assets Ethan Chu had entrusted me to manage over the past few years. The night before going to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Ethan Chu came back. He called me. "Kelly, you've already moved out?" Accustomed to my silence on the phone, he laughed to himself. "Kelly, you're really adorable. I told you it was just acting in a play. So how about this?" His voice sounded especially cheerful. "Since we're acting, let's act it all the way through. Come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow and pick up the divorce certificate." I held the phone in my hand. "Kelly, don't worry, it's just for show," he said confidently. Cheers and noisy shouting came from the other end of the line. I hung up and sent him the appointment time on WeChat. The next morning, I got up very early. Ethan Chu arrived late, probably because Lily Tong had done it on purpose. There was a faint bite mark at the corner of his lips. He acted as if nothing was wrong, and I pretended not to see it. The procedures were even faster than last time. From start to finish, it took less than 5 minutes. "Kelly, tomorrow, I'll give you a surprise," Ethan Chu said softly, nudging my foot lightly with his. I slipped the divorce certificate into my bag. "Are you free tonight?" I looked at him. "I have something I want to tell you." Ethan Chu paused. Ever since we got married, I had always called him husband. The next moment, he narrowed his peach blossom eyes and lifted the red booklet in his hand, flicking it lightly. No matter what Ethan Chu had become now, I didn't want to deny the Ethan Chu of the past. I was grateful for the years he had stayed by my side, grateful for the care and attention he had once given me. So in truth, I had never planned to leave without saying a word. But that night, heavy rain poured down, thunder and lightning roaring. I was terrified of nights like this. The accident years ago had also happened during a storm just like this. I forced myself to suppress the trembling in my body and waited for Ethan Chu. I was even a little afraid that when he showed up, years of habit would make me lose the defenses I had worked so hard to build, that I would throw myself into his arms and break down crying. But he didn't come. He only called me once. As soon as the call connected, the other end was filled with noisy chaos. What salvation? Nonsense. I went crazy over her for those few years. If my mom hadn't forced me, do you think I'd have bothered to get married? His voice was sharp and careless. You know why I got married so early? Wasn't it because she wouldn't even let me touch her? I was just curious, that's all. My voice always disappears whenever my emotions fluctuate, right? So what about when I'm in bed? Can I even moan then? Ha ha ha. The laughter exploded as if something inside me was ripped apart again on that stormy night of rain, thunder, and lightning. Once again, all I wanted was to hide. I didn't want anyone to see me in such a miserable state, but where could I possibly hide? No matter where I went, there was only rain, thunder, lightning, and mocking laughter. At that moment, Felix Shen's call came through to Kelly Vaughn. His voice was always calm, so calm that it seemed to instantly push all the chaos away. Are you crying? I wanted to say no, but no sound came out. His words touched something deep inside me, and tears poured out uncontrollably. Wait for me, he said, still steady as ever. I'm coming to pick you up. The two young masters of the Chu family had both become single again, so a group of rich heirs organized a bachelor party. They drank until they forgot heaven and earth, collapsing in a row in the private room. No one knew what time it was when someone groggily picked up a phone. Breaking news. A sudden shout startled several others awake. The powerful heir of the Shen family actually showed up in Harbor City, and he even flew back overnight on a private jet. Someone waved dismissively, half asleep. Impossible. Didn't they say he went abroad for medical treatment? No one's seen him in 10 years. It's real. It's already trending. Phones were passed around, and the previously dull atmosphere instantly heated up again. It really is him, and he's holding a girl. I heard he rushed back overnight to take her abroad. Damn, that urgent? He didn't even have time to. Let me see. Tsk, why does this girl look kind of familiar? Ethan. Someone nudged Ethan Chu. Take a look. Doesn't the girl in Felix Shen's arms look like your sister-in-law? Ethan Chu had actually been awake for a long time. He had never liked gossiping about the Shen family. How could that be, Kelly? He said impatiently as he took the phone. Your sister-in-law wouldn't even dare come to Harbor City, let alone go abroad. But after just one glance at the photo, Ethan Chu froze. Rain was falling lightly at the airport. Under a black umbrella stood a tall man with a cold, indifferent face, shielding the girl in his arms with meticulous care. Ethan Chu felt no pity at all, until he realized how familiar Kelly Vaughn was to him. That figure, that hair color, there was no way. Ethan Chu clenched his fingers and slammed the phone onto the floor. How could Kelly possibly have the ability to know someone like Felix Shen? Tonight, she had even asked him to come to her apartment. It must be that after a month apart, she missed him so much she'd gone crazy. Ethan Chu pulled a cigarette from the pack, lit it, then took out his phone and found Kelly Vaughn's number, ready to call. His eyes swept over the time on the screen, 3 a.m. Forget it. She was probably asleep. Besides, whenever he called, Kelly always answered. Ethan Chu turned the screen back on and pressed call. Sorry, the number you have dialed does not exist. After that accident, I had never left Harbor City. Every form of transportation made me panic. Going somewhere unfamiliar only made me more anxious. I sat beside Felix Shen, so nervous that I kept clenching my hands tightly together. He was very tall, so tall that even sitting in the back seat of the car, he was still a head taller than me. He looked extremely serious. When the driver spoke to him, he only responded briefly, as if he were some kind of well-known figure. Earlier at Harbor City Airport, reporters had completely surrounded us, calling out Mr. Shen, one after another. Mr. Shen, am I being too impulsive? The name Felix Shen was something I had only learned after our first phone call. As for Paris, it was a city I had never even dared to think about before. The man beside me shifted slightly, reached into his pocket, and handed me something. Want a piece of candy? The wrapper was printed with a pink rabbit. My memories were instantly dragged back 2 years, to when I had stubbornly tried to strike up conversations with her. Hey, do you like candy? I had just found a kind of candy that was unbelievably good, soft and chewy, with a light peach fragrance. If you like it, give me your address and I'll send you a whole jar. She replied with an address written in English. That was the first time she ever responded to me, and the sense of distance immediately dissolved. I had searched for that rabbit candy for a long time, tracking it down based on his WeChat profile picture, just wanting to coax that introverted little sister into smiling a bit more. Let me open it for you, he said. He didn't seem difficult at all. Almost as if it came naturally, his voice gentle, a soft warmth flickering in his eyes. Before I even had time to nod, he skillfully unwrapped the candy. I took it from him and put it into my mouth. The familiar flavor slowly spread across my tongue, and my whole body relaxed, light and weightless. I never expected that I could actually stay in a place so unfamiliar like this. Felix Shen arranged for me to stay in his apartment, but he seemed very busy and rarely came home. In the first week after I had adjusted to my new life, he finally sat down to talk with me. Vaughn, what kind of work do you want to do? That single question made my whole body tense. Ethan Chu had never allowed me to work. You get so nervous you can't even speak properly. What job could you possibly do? He used to say. Just stay at home, grow flowers, take care of plants. Do you think I can't afford to support you? But Felix Shen only calmly held his coffee cup. You haven't started learning the language yet, but there are a lot of Chinese people in Paris. I clenched my palms tightly. Can I? If you don't try, how will you know? He replied. And I really did find a job, tutoring a Chinese child in Mandarin. It was just an ordinary tutoring job, nothing special. But I felt inexplicably happy. So happy that I wanted to share it with the few friends I still had, to tell them that maybe I wasn't as useless as I had thought. The moment I logged into WeChat, messages flooded in like falling snow. Kelly, where did you go? The Chu heir is looking for you like he's gone crazy. Ethan Chu was looking for me. On the day Felix Shen and I left together, my emotional state was truly terrible. So he handled everything for me afterward. The assets I had planned to return to Ethan Chu, he sent them directly back to the Chu family villa. Anything that needed to be dealt with was handed over to the lawyer we had prepared in advance. All procedures related to the divorce were also continued by the lawyer. As for things like SIM cards and phones, Felix Shen canceled everything. If Ethan Chu had anything to say, he should contact the lawyer, not me. I was deleting messages one by one when a voice call suddenly came in. My hand moved too fast and I accidentally pressed the answer button. Kelly Vaughn, what are you playing at? Ethan Chu's voice rang out clearly the moment the call connected. Your phone got stolen, right? If it was stolen, didn't you know to buy a new one? After buying a new one, you didn't even know to call me? Don't you know my number by heart? I held the phone in silence. And where did you go? Why did you send those things back to the old house? Our third wedding anniversary, are you still planning to celebrate it or not? Ethan Chu, I said his name, my voice unusually calm. We're already divorced. Without waiting for him to say anything else, I hung up. Messages immediately poured in. Kelly, how many times do I have to tell you? It was just acting. Don't you understand? What's your new number? Add me back on WeChat. Do you even want to stay in touch with me anymore? I tapped on his avatar and blocked him. Then I opened my contacts, found the names of Ethan Chu's friends, and blocked them all. A new environment really does make it easier for people to let go. On my way home, I bought a small cake. After all, I had been talking with Felix Shen for over 2 years. Once I got past the initial awkwardness, I realized I felt quite close to him. For example, I knew what he liked. Recently, he seemed less busy than before and came home more often. Carrying the cake, I thought he would probably be home tonight. I didn't expect him to be back that early. Just as I took out my key, the door opened. Felix Shen was standing there in a crisp white shirt, strikingly bright, holding a small, fluffy, soft little creature in his arms. I was so delighted that I forgot all about the cake and reached out to hug the puppy. You got a dog? Why didn't you tell me? I asked. Or is it your friend's dog? It's so adorable, I'm giving it to you. Felix Shen closed the door. I froze for a moment. Giving it to me? I asked instinctively. Can I really raise it? Ethan Chu had never allowed me to keep pets. He said the fur would get everywhere and the smell would be unpleasant. But Felix Shen simply replied, why wouldn't you be able to? Something seemed to burst inside my chest, like a small bundle of paper firecrackers exploding all at once. I had my own little dog again. Here, this is the cake I bought. It's for you. I handed the cake to Felix Shen, then ran over to the sofa to play with the puppy. My first dog had been a birthday gift from my parents, chosen together with my older brother. Back then, it felt like I had never known what worry was. Even now, I still feel that as long as I see a puppy, all my troubles disappear. When I looked up, it seemed I wasn't the only one in a good mood. Felix Shen sat beside me, the corners of his lips curving upwards slightly as he took bite after bite, quietly eating the small cake. Hey little sister, you've got cream on you, he said. I stood up, about to grab a tissue, then suddenly froze. I was too relaxed. I'd called him the wrong thing. Little sister, I repeated inwardly. Felix Shen's voice drew close, his breath following. He was so close that the puppy barked once and ran away. I lifted my head slightly and found myself facing his handsome face, the springy firmness of his muscles beneath my hand. All I could hear was my heart pounding wildly. I tried to step back, but Felix Shen's hand held the back of my neck, not letting me avoid him. And then he kissed me. Kelly, you forgot something, didn't you? My heart pounded as if it were about to explode. My face burned, my head spun, yet he leaned down and kissed me again. This time, it was incredibly gentle and soft. His voice was low and hoarse. "When are we going to register our marriage, today or tomorrow?" I didn't even understand what was happening anymore. I was kissed into a daze and thought it was already late anyway, so I said we'd go tomorrow. The next day, Felix Shen really take me to City Hall. I heard that the elderly mayor of Paris spoke French the entire time. I could only nod along. He stamped the papers and signed our marriage certificate on the spot. I felt both nervous and strangely happy. People who share the same kind of wounds understand each other. I always felt that Felix Shen couldn't be a wrong choice. There was only one thing that made me unhappy. Somehow, Ethan Chu found the phone number I was using in Paris. He called me directly from a French number. "So you really ran off to Paris," he said the moment I answered, recognizing my voice instantly. "Kelly, you know how to sulk now, huh? It's been a month, aren't you over it yet?" I took a deep breath, trying hard to suppress the emotions surging up. "Ethan Chu, stop interfering with my life." "My life?" he scoffed. "What kind of life do you have? Don't think I don't know. You went to Paris to look for that angel girl, didn't you? That girl who eats candy all day. You've got some nerve clinging to someone like that." I had never hidden anything I did or anyone I forgot from Ethan Chu before. "My mom said it has nothing to do with you," I said. "Your mom said I'm your husband. If it has nothing to do with me, then who does it have to do with?" He advised me to come back immediately. I hung up decisively. He sent another message right away. "You're really not coming back? Fine. If you've got the guts, then cling to that little girl for the rest of your life." I had never imagined that Ethan Chu could be this awful. But when I thought about it carefully, someone who could cheat while married and brazenly tell me to fake a divorce couldn't possibly be a good person. It was just that my childhood memories had blinded me, making me foolish for so long. That night, many friends messaged me again. Most of them sent screenshots of Ethan Chu's WeChat post, along with a single line of text. "What exactly happened between you and the Chu heir?" Ethan Chu posted an intimate photo with Lily Tong on his moments, basically making their relationship public. I didn't feel like explaining anything. I simply posted a photo on my own moments, the divorce certificate. My college friend group immediately exploded. "Oh my God, Kelly, you finally woke up." I've thought there was something off about that Chu guy for a long time. He never took you to meet his friends and never posted a single photo of you online. Exactly. He was always bringing up your mutism as a joke. He talked just fine with us, but whenever he was around you got so tense you couldn't say a word. Turns out there were signs all along. A few days later, the group chat blew up again. What is wrong with him? Ethan Chu had sent the exact same content to everyone in the group. A photo of a diamond ring, a screenshot of a chat with Lily Tong that said, "In 3 days, I'll give you a surprise. Are you free?" After that, there was a message asking them to pass something on to me. "Tell Kelly Vaughn that in 3 days, it'll be my mom's birthday banquet. If she doesn't come back to the country, I'll have my mom change daughters-in-law." Even I felt like he had completely lost his mind. "Ignore him," my friend said. "But it's true that I have to go back," I admitted. That night, Felix Shen came home carrying 2 suitcases. "Let's go back to the country for a bit," he said. I froze, not reacting in time. "The marriage certificate needs to be notarized in China," he continued as he packed up documents, "and I also want to take you back to meet my family and friends." Instinctively, I almost asked that familiar question again. Am I really allowed to? Just like my friends had said, Ethan Chu had never taken me to any public occasions. He was afraid I wouldn't be able to speak, afraid I would stutter, afraid of losing face. Felix Shen suddenly stopped what he was doing, turned around, and gently lifted my face with one hand. His dark eyes looked straight at me without blinking. "Kelly Vaughn," he said quietly, "in this world, there is nothing you're not allowed to do." That warm, numbing sensation spread from my heart through my entire body. So this was what a healthy, positive relationship felt like. So comforting, it almost made me dizzy. Felix Shen said he needed to go to Harbor City first to deal with some matters. Coincidentally, I also wanted to meet my lawyer, so our first stop after returning home was Harbor City. Unlike the torrential rain on the day I left, the moment we got off the plane this time, the sun was blazing brightly. Felix Shen remained discreet, wearing sunglasses and holding my hand as we walked straight into the VIP passage. After spending that much time together, I naturally knew who he really was. 12 years ago, the power struggle within the Shen family had dominated newspaper front pages for months. No one had expected that the final winner would be a younger generation, someone so young he hadn't even graduated from college. Even fewer people expected that after taking control of Shen Group, Felix Shen would act so decisively, rolling out one shocking move after another and doubling the value of the massive conglomerate in just 2 years. I had heard rumors about him before, but I was still young back then, and he had withdrawn from the country for many years, so I couldn't even remember his name. Luckily this time we didn't run into any reporters. Felix Shen and I returned smoothly to the hotel. He went to the company, while I took the chance to catch up on sleep in the room. After waking up, I headed to the law office. "Miss Vaughn," the lawyer said, "your assets have been handled strictly according to your instructions. Everything is progressing smoothly. These are some documents that still require your signature. Please take a look. And here is the original contract for the real estate properties that have already been sold. You can take these with you." Overall, the handling of my personal assets had gone very smoothly. It was just that the lawyer hesitated slightly. "Miss Vaughn, there were still a few properties jointly registered under my name and Ethan Chu's, assets acquired after marriage. According to the divorce agreement, they were supposed to be split evenly, but Ethan Chu refused to cooperate. He says," the two lawyers exchanged a glance and coughed lightly, "that you aren't divorced yet, Ms. Vaughn. So how would you like to handle this?" I nodded and apologized. "I'll talk to him directly." I took out my phone. After I had my friends block all of Ethan Chu's accounts, he started creating countless alternate accounts, changing his approach every day just to get to me. I accepted one. "Are you free tonight? Come out and meet for a bit." Ethan Chu didn't reply right away. The typing indicator stayed on for a long time. "Oh, finally willing to come back to the country?" he replied at last. "What a pity. Tonight this young master has to take Chi-Chi out for a stroll. I'm not free." I stared at the message on the screen and almost laughed out of anger. It wasn't that there was no way to force the asset division. All I had to do was file a petition with the court for compulsory enforcement. It was just that this trip back, I didn't plan to stay long, so I wanted everything resolved smoothly and peacefully. Maybe because I didn't respond, he sent another message. "If you want to get back together, it's not like there's no chance. Tomorrow is my mom's birthday banquet. Come back and apologize." Attached was a hotel location. He really was sick. I blocked him again. Right then, Felix Shen sent me a message. "I had someone bring several evening gowns over for you. Pick one. Tomorrow, I'll take you to meet some friends." I was going to meet Felix Shen's friends. My heart suddenly started beating a few beats faster, and the discomfort Ethan Chu had stirred up was instantly pushed out of my mind. I took a car back to the hotel. Felix Shen hadn't just sent over a few dresses. Entire rows of garment racks filled the room, along with matching shoes, jewelry, and even a full team of 5 makeup artists. The whole room was packed. Seeing how much importance he placed on this, I didn't dare be careless. I tried outfit after outfit, and it took almost the entire evening to finally choose one. In the end, I picked a dress that looked well-behaved and conservative. Luckily, Felix Shen didn't return to the hotel. He hadn't been back in the country for 10 years, and this time he had personally come to the Harbor City branch, so being busy was understandable. The next day, I slept until nearly noon. When I woke up, it was already afternoon. Just as I finished getting dressed and putting on makeup, I received a message from Felix Shen. "I've already had the driver go pick you up." As I got into the car, an unfamiliar number called. My instincts told me it was Ethan Chu again, and I immediately rejected the call. He called again. I rejected it again. In the end, I blocked the number. What I didn't expect was that when the driver stopped the car, I saw Ethan Chu. He was standing right at the entrance of the hotel, repeatedly making calls, calling again and again, until he finally lost his temper and smashed his phone onto the ground. I looked up at the hotel sign and realized, to my surprise, that it was the very place he had sent me the location for yesterday. Just then, Felix Shen called. "You're here already? I'll come down to get you. His voice always had a way of calming people down. I glanced at Ethan Chu. His face was pitch dark. No need, I said softly. I can come up myself. Perhaps hearing my voice, Ethan Chu turned around as well. The expression on his face at that moment was hard to describe. Shock, relief, and a trace of suppressed anger all mixed together. He kicked away the shattered phone on the ground. His eyes were red as he called out, "Kelly," but only that one word came out. He pressed his lips together, turned his face away, then said, "Let's go," still carrying a hint of smug certainty, as if he had known all along that I would come. Then he turned and walked ahead. It seemed the hotel had been fully booked out. Only then did I realize who the friends Felix Shen had said he would introduce me to were. Seeing that I didn't follow him, Ethan Chu deliberately slowed his steps by a few paces. "All right, I'll admit my mistake first, okay?" He lowered his voice. "Didn't you say you don't like Lily Tong? Fine, I won't have anything to do with her anymore." He frowned slightly. "You're really petty. That girl didn't even do anything to you." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to suppress my emotions. By the time I reached the second floor, I had already spotted a few familiar faces. "Oh wow, sister-in-law finally decided to come back? Looks like young Master Chu really has some skills. Such an obedient girl, yet she dared to run away like a canary. How funny. Why are there so many people here today? You even brought her along? Aren't you afraid? There's a big shot coming today." Ethan Chu shot them a fierce glare. "Get lost." Then, he stepped closer to me and lowered his voice. "At least you know better now. Got yourself properly dressed before coming. Stay close to me later. No matter what happens, don't say a word. Just smile, understand?" He held out his hand for me to take. I stopped and looked at him, confused. "Ethan Chu," I said coldly. "I didn't come here for you." Ethan Chu sneered. "Come on. At this point, why are you still pretending? If not for me, then who did you come for?" At that moment, the door to the private room swung open. I saw Felix Shen immediately. Even though this wasn't his territory, he was sitting in the seat of honor. On either side of him were Ethan Chu's mother and Ethan Chu's older brother, who managed the Chu family business. The rest of the people were either seated or standing, quietly drinking or whispering among themselves. But unconsciously, they all formed a half-circle oriented toward Felix Shen. "See?" Ethan Chu said in a low voice. "The one sitting in the middle is his mother. It took a lot of effort to invite her. His wife will be arriving soon too. Behave yourself. If you embarrass the Chu family today, my mother and my brother won't let you off." As he spoke, Ethan Chu reached out to grab me. I immediately shook his hand off. "Kelly Vaughn," he shouted. Many people began turning their heads to look. Felix Shen's gaze also shifted toward me, his eyes darkening slightly. "Hoi Num, what are you making such a scene for?" Mother Chu called out to him, but her displeased gaze was fixed firmly on me. Ethan Chu's older brother frowned and glanced at me, then turned to Felix Shen with a smile. "Mrs. Shen should be arriving soon, right? I'll go down to greet her." Around us, whispers began to spread. Ethan Chu barked in a low voice. "I told you not to cause trouble. Are you satisfied now? This is the first time you've met the entire Chu family. Is this really the impression you want to leave?" Yes, 3 years of marriage, and this was the first time I had met the entire Chu family. "Vaughn," Felix Shen's voice rang out calmly. "Come here." He was sitting between Mother Chu and Ethan Chu's brother, with an empty seat deliberately left beside him. Ethan Chu froze. His mother and his brother were just as stunned. I walked over. "Let me introduce her," Felix Shen said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried clearly throughout the hall. He bent down, kissed the back of my hand, then looked around the room. "Kelly Vaughn, my wife." The banquet hall fell into a deathly silence. Everyone seemed to forget how to breathe. Only Felix Shen remained composed, clearly someone long accustomed to grand occasions. "Vaughn," he said softly, "is there anything you'd like to say?" All eyes turned to me. I felt a cold sweat break out down my back, my hand clenched tight as my heart pounded as if it were about to burst. Felix Shen gently squeezed my hand, looked straight at me, and gave a small nod. There was nothing I couldn't do. I took a deep breath. "Auntie," I said, turning toward Mother Chu, my voice gentle. "Ethan Chu and I have been divorced for a long time now. I don't know why he never told you." I turned to Ethan Chu. "Ethan Chu, I never thought that marriage or divorce could be treated as a performance. There is no longer any possibility between you and me. Finally, I looked around at everyone in the room. I am now Felix Shen's lawful wife. From this day forward, I have nothing to do with the Chu family. Ethan Chu stared at the hands Felix Shen and I were holding tightly together, his eyes filled with shock as he staggered back 2 steps. Felix Shen stood up as well. He took a napkin from the table and calmly wiped my hand where Ethan Chu had grabbed it. My wife doesn't like noise, he said evenly. I'm someone who's very protective of the person beside me. From today onward, I don't want to see anyone use any means whatsoever to disturb my wife. He looked at Mother Chu. Mrs. Chu, I've made myself clear, haven't I? She hurriedly nodded again and again. I'm sorry for the disturbance. Felix Shen set the napkin down, took my hand and led me away. It wasn't until we stepped into the elevator that my heartbeat gradually returned to normal. My legs went weak and I nearly collapsed. Felix Shen wrapped an arm around my waist in time, supporting me against the elevator wall. You made such a big scene, I said, breathing fast. So Ethan Chu won't dare come looking for you again, he replied. Felix Shen lifted my face. You were very beautiful today. I couldn't tell whether he meant the way I was dressed or the words I had spoken. He lowered his head and kissed me. Kelly. Kelly. Outside the elevator, Ethan Chu was shouting my name loudly. Unfortunately, I had been too caught up talking and forgot to press a floor. Ethan Chu hit the open door button at just the right moment. Felix Shen immediately pulled me tightly into his arms and turned his head coldly. What is it? Reflected in the elevator wall, my face was flushed, heated from the kiss and from being seen. Ethan Chu's expression froze, nearly desperate. I hurriedly pressed B1. Before the elevator doors closed, Felix Shen seemed to deliberately provoke him, lifting my chin and kissing me more deeply right in front of Ethan Chu. I later heard that Ethan Chu was confined by his family. His phone and computer were confiscated, all contact cut off. Only after he swore he would never bother me again did they let him go. Felix Shen and I returned to Beijing. Originally, we planned to notarize our marriage certificate, but he found it too troublesome and took me straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register again, clean and simple. I also met his friends and relatives. Just like the rumors said, he was the eldest grandson. His mother had passed away early, and his father died suddenly of a heart condition when he was 18. The uncles in the Shen family no longer had the strength to compete, and they treated me with great courtesy and restraint. Most of his friends were refined and well-mannered. Only one, probably his longtime close friend, dared to joke in front of him, saying he was an older man who had only just learned about life, already over 30 and still so innocent. But even after we had registered our marriage, half a month passed and he still hadn't crossed that final line with me. Was it because he didn't know, or because he was afraid I would realize he didn't know? So that night, the atmosphere when we went to bed felt a little strange. At times, I wanted to reach out and touch him. At other times, I felt I should keep my distance. Maybe it wasn't that he didn't know, maybe he just didn't want to. No, that couldn't be it. Every time he kissed me, I could clearly feel his presence. President Shen was busy every day, and it wasn't easy to get close to him. Maybe this was normal, and even if it wasn't, we were already husband and wife. I wouldn't look down on him. What are you thinking about? Felix Shen suddenly turned over and pulled me into his arms. I shook my head repeatedly. He nodded, then lowered his head to kiss me. Recently, he had been kissing me more and more often, and each time, the moments lingered longer. I just want to give you more time to accept me, he said. Under the covers, the temperature gradually rose. In the darkness, Felix Shen's breathing began to grow uneven, his voice hoarse as he spoke. My heart pounded wildly, cutting off whatever I had been about to say. But then I thought of the little dog sleeping soundly at the corner of the bed, how Felix Shen hadn't forgotten to bring him when we returned home, and the pale purple bedding in this bedroom, and the garden outside filled with tulips. I thought of everything I had ever told him over the years, and how he remembered it all. I like you, Felix Shen, I whispered, lifting my head to kiss his lips. His body stiffened for a brief moment, then he quickly turned over and took control. And naturally, the night stretched long, sleep nowhere to be found, but not everything in life always goes according to one's wishes. The birthday banquet had far too many attendees. In the end, the rumors still spread outside. Under every interview video of Felix Shen, there were ambiguous comments popping up. Domineering CEO. Looks upright on the outside, a beast on the inside. Even his wife, wait, he's married? What about the wife? Keeping it hidden just to live peacefully. Keyword, stolen bride. Felix Shen didn't pay it any mind. He said the more people tried to stop the talk, the more fiercely others would gossip. But for me, it felt like a fishbone was lodged in my throat. I couldn't swallow it down. That day, Felix Shen worked overtime again. In 3 days, we would be returning to France. I was packing when I suddenly heard a commotion outside in the courtyard, an outright uproar. That's right, my wife and I are childhood sweethearts. We've been together for more than 20 years. How could I just abandon her? Everyone, look at this photo. Isn't this the one taken at the airport, the one that got wiped clean the very next day? Look closely. Does my wife look sane to you? 3 years ago, Felix Shen pretended to be a woman to deceive my wife. He's got a sick fetish. He's a pervert. My ears rang in waves, blood rushing to my head. Of course, it was Ethan Chu. He had dragged a group of live streamers right to the doorstep of my home with Felix Shen. The Shen group thinks it can act above the law, he shouted. I ask everyone to be my witnesses. Today, I must see my wife. I grabbed the stack of documents I had printed in advance and rushed straight downstairs, forgetting that I had sent all the staff out to buy supplies. At that moment, there was only me in the house. I also forgot the terrifying sensation from years ago, after the accident, when I had been surrounded by the media. Facing the cameras, I couldn't utter a word. It turned out that when someone truly wants to protect something, a person can become that strong. I flung the front door wide open. Kelly. Ethan Chu looked overjoyed. Before he could finish even his third sentence, I stepped forward and slapped him hard across the face. Go look in the mirror, I said. Who gave you the illusion that I would never leave you? Another slap. Who gave you the nerve to smear others and fabricate accusations? Yet another slap. I threw the printed chat logs straight at him. Look carefully yourself. Don't sully the words childhood sweethearts anymore. Finally, I shoved the recorder straight into his hand. It was playing the recording of that night's phone call. Salvation? What nonsense. Those years I went crazy over her. If my mom hadn't forced me, do you think I'd have bothered to get married? Everyone could hear it clearly. Ethan Chu's face turned deathly pale. He fumbled frantically to turn off the recording, but the mess he had caused wasn't something he could just switch off. The live stream was cut. All the videos were wiped clean, but what spread everywhere instead were the chat records between Ethan Chu and Lily Tong, the same ones Lily Tong had sent me years ago. Netizens marveled at the psychological manipulation of the two of them. Before long, Lily Tong's carefully hidden identity was exposed as well. People dug up that she lived in a villa bought by Ethan Chu, wore nothing but luxury brands he had given her, and pretended to be a rich heiress to mingle with the sons of elite families. As for Felix Shen, he was a businessman who rarely took things personally, but this time was different. He immediately cut off all cooperation between the Shen group and the Chu family. Within a few days, Mother Chu called me. It's our family's fault, she said. I failed to teach Huainan properly. I'm sorry, Kelly. For the sake of all these years, Auntie, I interrupted gently. You took care of me for many years. I know that, and I'm grateful. But over all these years, I also did exactly as you told me, step by step. I handed over every business my parents had ever run to the Chu family. I never owed you anything, Auntie. Felix Shen and I still followed our original plan and prepared to return to France. On the day we left, a light rain was falling. Just as we reached the security checkpoint, a sudden commotion broke out around us. I didn't know where Ethan Chu crawled out from. His body was smeared with mud and rainwater, looking utterly miserable. Kelly? Kelly. He grabbed my suitcase. The ground was slippery and he nearly fell right in front of me. Kelly, don't go, okay? Felix Shen frowned, his face filled with undisguised disgust, but he only glanced at his watch and then signaled to several people standing nearby. The surrounding crowd, who had been about to pull out their phones to film, were immediately escorted away. Ethan Chu still clung tightly to my suitcase. Kelly, listen to me. There were too many misunderstandings between us. That phone call, it was Lily Tong who called you, not me. I didn't know anything at all. I was too drunk that day and just talked nonsense. I never found you annoying. I married you because I truly loved you. The things I said to Lily Tong back then were just me being confused. Yes, she really was too manipulative. She seduced me. I never actually planned to divorce you. Didn't I say I'd give you a surprise? I was planning to propose to you all over again the next day. Kelly, it was all just a misunderstanding. That night, I even planned to go to the apartment to find you. It was that idiot Chen Zhang who kept forcing me to go drinking. It's all someone else's fault. I lowered my head and looked at his tear-streaked face. So the condoms were put in your pocket by someone else? That bed, someone else pushed you onto it? And the words you used to humiliate and insult me, were you possessed when you said those too? I couldn't believe that I was able to speak such a long stretch without stuttering or hesitating at all. Ethan Chu, you just assumed I would never leave you. That's why you looked down on me, ignored me, despised me, mocked me, and trampled on me. I became the only way you could feel a sense of existence in your failed life, didn't I? The Chu family has 2 sons. The eldest inherited the entire family business. The younger one drifts through life wasting his days. Not because he doesn't want to work, but because he can't. In his entire life, the only thing people ever mentioned about him in a positive light was that he once stood beside a girl who once trusted him completely and leaned on him with her whole heart. Let go. Don't let feelings from childhood end in such an ugly way. Ethan Chu's hands trembled violently before he finally let go. Kelly, can you give me one more chance? This time I definitely will. He reached out again, trying to grab my hand. I dodged quickly to the side. Enough. His words choked off mid-sentence. I pulled my suitcase and turned to leave. Felix Shen was standing not far ahead, waiting for me. I looped my arm through his. Behind us came the sound of desperate, broken sobbing. For a very long time after that, I never saw Ethan Chu again. Only occasionally did I hear my friends mention bits and pieces about him and Lily Tong. Lily Tong's scandal caused a huge uproar back then. Several rich young men, including Ethan Chu, jointly sued her. She was expelled from school and never obtained her degree. As for how the final lawsuit was ruled, no one really knew. Ethan Chu was kicked out of the Chu family. Maybe it was to appease Felix Shen, or maybe it was because Mother Chu's business suffered setbacks, and she took her anger out on him. All his bank cards were frozen, every asset under his name was taken back, and he was thrown out to fend for himself. A man who once wouldn't blink while spending millions on custom-made clothes now hesitated over every dollar just to buy a bottle of alcohol. Some people even said they had seen him and Lily Tong fighting in the street. 2 wretched people clawing at each other until blood was drawn, with no one bothering to spare them a glance. My work progressed very smoothly. From 1 student to 2, from 2 to 4, and eventually I even opened an entire class for Chinese children. My language studies also stabilized. Although French pronunciation often gave me headaches and made me dizzy, at least everyday communication was no longer a problem. During my first Lunar New Year in France, Felix Shen took me skiing. As we sped straight down the snow-covered slopes, I screamed at the top of my lungs. At night, we lay in a hotel nestled in the valley, counting the stars, each one representing someone who had once loved us. Felix, I said, you still haven't told me the story of Angel. That night, Felix Shen took me back to China, back to Beijing, back to the old house that had remained unopened for many years. Inside, there was a room once filled wall to wall with drawings of pink rabbits. Felix Shen had had a younger sister, 10 years younger than him, who adored rabbits. When she grew a bit older, she became obsessed with pink rabbits, always saying she was an angel from Planet Rabbit, sent to save the world. But she didn't seem to be so fortunate. Their mother died giving birth, and when the girl was 8, their father passed away as well. She witnessed her older brother locking horns with the greedy uncles of the family, battling them in endless power struggles until he was utterly exhausted. She believed she had come to save the world, so naturally, she couldn't become a burden to him. When the household staff mistreated her, she said nothing. When classmates mocked and bullied her because of her selective mutism, she only smiled at Felix Shen. The one with selective mutism had never been Felix Shen, it was his sister. To hide her condition, she often wrote him notes. "Brother, school is really fun. I won't be coming home this summer. Remember to take good care of yourself. Brother, I made a new friend today. Today was such a happy day. Brother, I learned how to bake today. I left it in the fridge, don't forget to eat it." The last note she left him said, "Brother, Earth is too sad. I'm going back to Planet Rabbit now. Don't worry, I'll come visit you often." Felix Shen was too busy, school on one side, the company on the other, every place a battlefield. But when all the battles finally ended, what awaited him was only a cold body at the bottom of a lake. In truth, she had tried to save herself. She joined many support groups, depression groups, selective mutism groups. She made friends there too. But people who could barely take care of themselves, how could they save someone else? Most conversations lasted only a few days before fading away. Much later, I tapped on her pink rabbit avatar and sent a friend request. "Little sister, can we be friends? Are you busy? It's another sunny day today. Would I be lucky enough to have my request accepted?" Felix Shen said I was overly whimsical. Year after year, he kept her WeChat account, still hoping that one day she would truly come back, but she never returned. Instead, a talkative older sister appeared. He accepted that friend request and watched that girl share her daily life every single day, tirelessly. In that house, laughter and voices returned, clumsy and human. At times, he even thought perhaps she was the gift his sister had left behind for him. Because he had been too lonely, far from home, living every day with guilt over his sister. The sounds from his phone had been the only color in his life. It was just a pity that she had been someone else's wife. "And now," he said softly, "you're my wife." Felix Shen looked up at the brightest star beside the moon. "Tell me, was she really a gift she sent to me? Has she forgiven me?" "She never blamed you," I said. I kissed the corner of his eye, where tears still lingered. "She was an angel who came to save the world. She saved you, and she saved me too." Felix Shen held me tightly. "Kelly," he said, I love you so much. In life, the greatest regret is loving the wrong person, and the greatest fortune is that I love you, and you happen to fall right into the palm of my hand." At what moment did you realize you were loving someone who would never fully choose you? Love and Lies story.